isn't it? Kickoff is next. Welcome back to Knoxville. They have been knocking heads in this series since 1901 Alabama with a 7-game lead. But Tennessee has won 10 of the last 13. Alabama a winner a year ago, 41-17. Coming up on our show tonight, we'll take a look back at some of the most memorable moments in this rivalry. We'll also play Did You Know? So put on your thinking cap in regards to national championship history and the SEC. And Taste of the Town partakes in a Tennessee tradition and discovers another way to cook steak. You can catch Taste of the Town at the end of the first quarter. Smokey's ready, and so are we. 102,000 on hand. What a scene here in Knoxville for a Saturday night primetime game. McCoy and Arenas are deep to receive for Alabama.
Talked about how important it is for Tennessee to compete early, and that includes every phase, even this opening kickoff. From the very first play, they've got to prove they're ready to play Alabama in this game.
Arenas is averaging nearly 26 yards a return, but McCoy will take it at the 14-yard line. Across to 25, stopped short of the 30, and thrown back. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, Todd, you talked about the fast start for Alabama. Nick Saban told us it's because his team has shown an inordinate amount of intensity. He said being physical is the key to our success. Let me show you how physical they were before this game. This is what they call the competition drill. #1 offensive line against #1 defensive line. Guys, it was so violent and brutal in there, it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. If this is what they're doing to each other pregame, just imagine what's in store for the Vols.
All right, thank you, Holly. We'll start at the 29-yard line. Coffee will go in motion, so an empty backfield for John Parker Wilson. 4-man rush set to throw first down, complete to his big tight end, Nick Walker. Alabama quarterback John Parker Wilson has been really good this year, but he has saved his best for his games on the road, and the senior now holds every single significant passing record in school history. Considering the number of guys who have been great quarterbacks who came through Alabama, that's saying something. First down, they have a 2 tight end set with Travis McCall, 83, and Nick Walker, 88. Coffee is the running back. He has been terrific this year. Wilson to throw again. Julio Jones, the freshman wide receiver, into Tennessee territory. You can check all the starting lineups on top of the screen. Todd, Holly talked about that fast start. They come out and go bang, bang on 2 pass plays.
And really playing within their comfort zone, because they are best when they throw on early downs. When everybody's respecting Alabama's run game, you throw on early downs. It helps your protection, and it gets your quarterback into a nice rhythm early, already across the 50-yard line.
John Parker Wilson, they wanted him to take a more business-like approach this year. He has done that and more. Coffee down to the 40-yard line.
I mean, think about this now, what Alabama has done. And everybody's kind of moaning and groaning around the state of Alabama about they don't finish games, they haven't played well, they've gotten outscored in the second half. This is a team that has outscored their opponents 95-3 in the first quarter. I mean, they have just absolutely devastated people in the first half.
No wonder you don't play with intensity in the second half of games. They're basically over.
Hard to keep up, but that's what Nick Saban wants to see out of his team. A similar kind of intensity in the second half as he sees in the first.
John Parker Wilson goes to the shotgun. Little toss to Coffee, trying to turn the corner. Powers his way about 1.5 yards shy of a first down. Rico McCoy and D'Angelo Willingham in on the tackle for Tennessee.
And here's a very early test for Tennessee's defense. John Chavis, the defensive coordinator, told us yesterday that this has been a real sore spot. 3rd and short. Going into last week's game against Mississippi State, only 7% of the time they have been able to stop their opponents in 3rd and short. They could make a great statement for this game with a stop here.
They love to run behind the left tackle and left guard. Instead, it's a quarterback keeper right up the middle. The spot is going to be enough for a first down. I mentioned the left side of that line because Andre Smith, who is probably the best left tackle in all of college football, and Mike Johnson, who's a terrific guard, are on that side. Andre Smith is going to be a top 5 draft pick. And I mean, he's going to play at the next level for a long, long time.
Here's where Tennessee has to be ready for another play pass. Now it's first down. They've run a couple times. Good time for a pass.
Pressure coming. Still complete to Walker. John Parker Wilson was getting ready to be annihilated by Robert Ayers and just kept backpedaling to save himself and got rid of it.
Well, Robert Ayers has really been playing well the last couple of weeks, and he's doing a nice job. He comes right inside the guard. Mike Johnson uses his quickness, uses his strength. Johnson tried to cut him and missed him, just totally whiffed, and Ayers into the Alabama backfield.
Even on a play that looked like it was going to be busted up, they gained 4. Coffee in motion again. This is a screen. Upchurch. 25. 21-yard line. Another first down.
Well, Alabama has been doing it on both sides of the ball. Offensively, some guys making a real impact on this football team. Glenn Coffee, their leading rusher, was held to a season low of 52 yards a week ago. Julio Jones, their leading receiver, just a true freshman, 6'4", 210, very physical. And as you mentioned, the left tackle, Andre Smith, one of the best in college football. They love to run behind his big body.
Upchurch and Coffee in there together. Coffee, that time Tennessee came up to make the stop. Robert Ayers again, the 6'3", 270-pound senior. Nick Saban, only a question of time about when he would turn it around at Alabama. And even by his most ardent supporters' account, he has turned it around quicker than anybody could have expected.
Well, he turned it around quicker, and one of the things he did was he utilized young players. He played a lot of freshmen this year and counted on them, and they've come through for him most of the time.
They're one of the youngest teams in the country, and not just freshmen. Freshmen in key spots. That pass is incomplete, intended for Earl Alexander, but he was covered perfectly by Dennis Rogan.
The strength of this Tennessee defense is in the back end. Their corners and their 2 safeties. And Rogan is in perfect position. He looks when he sees the receiver look for the ball. He turns his eyes back and then gets his hands up towards the football. Excellent job of playing that fade route by Dennis Rogan.
Alexander 6'4", Rogan 5'10", the obvious advantage to toss it up and let the big guy get it. But sometimes the little guys still win. 3rd and 11.
Tennessee showing blitz, man-to-man on 3rd and long.
They come, they may have come early. The pass almost intercepted.
I don't see a flag down. It did look like they got a jump on the outside,
yes,
but he must not have crossed the neutral zone. I love the intensity, the aggressiveness of John Chavis, though. 3rd and 11, bring pressure, and let's just try to play man-to-man. Let's see if we can make this quarterback uncomfortable and trust our secondary to play man.
Eric Berry nearly had his 6th interception. So Lee Tiffin, who has hit 10 of 14 this year, will come on to try from 39 yards. And Alabama gets off to that fast start that they covet and puts Tennessee in a 3-0 hole with 10:18 to go first quarter from Knoxville. Welcome back to Knoxville. 3-0. Alabama on top after their opening possession. Tennessee is yet to touch the ball.
Well, watch this pressure now. Wes Brown is going to draw the block of the tackle right here. The linebacker is going to come up here and draw the block of the guard. That's going to leave DeMonte Bolden to come in here, and the only guy to block him is Glenn Coffey. Folks, that's a mismatch. A tailback trying to block a defensive tackle doesn't work too well. Coffey tries to make a shot at him, but Bolden gets in there. And even though Alabama got 3, Tennessee got 2. They got 2 good shots on John Parker Wilson in that drive.
Dennis Rogan, 41. Eric Berry, 14. Berry, they're trying to use him in about every situation they can find because he is such an explosive player. He'll return this kick from the 6-yard line. Yikes. Takes a blast and gets to the 27-yard line. Mark Barron drilled him. Sophomore Nick Stevens making his 4th start at quarterback for the Vols. He took over for Jonathan Crompton, the 2-1 record so far. His lack of accuracy, though, has been a concern for this ball club. He has hit only 49.3% of his passes. In this day and age, Todd, ought to be a lot higher than that.
Yeah, especially in this kind of an offense.
Arian Foster will get the start at tailback. And he gets the first carry. And Foster picks up about 8.
When I talked to Dave Clawson, the offensive coordinator, on the field before the game, he said we don't want to be too crazy in how we attack, but we definitely want to attack from the outside in. We feel like we need to get the perimeter first early in the game, whether it's with a play like that, a toss sweep, or a quick throw outside, and then work our way back inside. That's a nice first play for the Tennessee offense.
Foster needs less than 300 yards to be the all-time leading rusher at Tennessee, but he has been losing a lot of playing time to 2 other younger guys. We expect to see 3 tailbacks play this game, and this is an Alabama defense that stands up here that is number 4 in the country against the run. 66.1 yards a game. These guys are pretty good.
Yeah, really good. I mean, the guy who gained the most yards against them this year as an individual is Michael Smith from Arkansas. He gained 91, which was about 40 yards below his average. They've only allowed 1 rushing touchdown the whole season as well. I mean, they have really done a great job. Now, the big difference in their defense tonight is right in the middle. Terrence Cody, their big nose guard, the 370-pounder, out with a knee injury. Josh Chapman, very active in there, number 99, but not nearly as big as Terrence Cody.
Who is?
Good point.
1.5 yards to go on 3rd down. Stevens to throw, goes underneath, has enough, I think, or maybe not.
No, I think he's short.
It does look short. It was the tight end Brandon Warren, the transfer they expected so much of, and they will mark it short.
And this is one thing when I watch tape of Nick Stevens, I notice. I mean, he gets completions, but so often his completions are guys aren't able to turn and run or catch it on the move and turn upfield. That was a perfect example. The ball was a little behind him. It was a little low, and the receiver had no chance to turn upfield and get the first down.
Of course, the crowd wanted Philip Fulmer to go for it, but
no, you've got a great punter in Britton Colquitt. Your defense has been your strength all year. Don't help Alabama.
Colquitt gets it out of there. Javier Arenas has to backpedal.
That's beautiful.
And he fumbled. Tennessee had a best shot at it. They've got it. Arenas was blasted as soon as he got the ball by LaMarcus Thompson.
Part of the reason this was so good was Colquitt put the ball in a perfect spot. It was high and right on the sideline. Arenas had to be concerned with the sideline, never fielded it cleanly, and a perfect hit high. He hits him high around where the ball is, and Tennessee able to come up with it.
Dennis Rogan makes the recovery. What a break for Tennessee. They'll set up shop at the Alabama 5, 1st and goal. Foster, the tailback. He'll get the call. Flags are down.
It's a dead ball penalty. It's going to back Tennessee out of there, I think. Very unfortunate mistake. You're down there inside the 5. You got to capitalize.
Hey, you just can't make mistakes there.
Prior to the snap, false start. 79, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's Chris Scott, the left tackle, and that's how you end up 3 and 4.
Yeah. Last week, they did a good job. It's right here. Chris Scott, number 79, is the guy that was moving a little bit early. And last week, they didn't have penalties. And they were the most efficient they've been all season. But penalties have been a problem for them in earlier ball games.
And his block on that play is the least important of any lineman. And yet he's the guy who makes the mistake. Montario Hardesty will come in for the first time at tailback. Now we're ready to go. Now first and goal from the 10 for Nick Stevens. Hardesty to the 7.
Ran in there behind Anthony Parker, number 75. Anthony Parker was a question whether he would play tonight. 3-year starter on that offensive line, had a high ankle sprain. They actually had 2 guys this week, 2 key offensive players, both with the same injury. Parker is able to play tonight, but one of their key wide receivers, Gerald Jones, had the same injury. He is not able to play. A little different stress it puts on a receiver than an interior offensive lineman.
Brandon Warren, number 1, is in the slot to the right. Got a lot of size. Stevens turns and looks his way under pressure, throws. That one short hopped because of pressure from Dederick, and Austin Rogers couldn't come up with a catch.
Dederick has quietly played extremely well. And here he is up here on the end. He's just going to get around. Comes to the inside and forces the quarterback out of there. Done a very nice job quietly this year. 14 tackles, a couple sacks.
Big play coming here. It's 3rd and goal from the 7. Tennessee trying to take advantage of that huge turnover. Alabama shows blitz, and they coming down at the 15-yard line. Goes Nick Stevens. Rashad Johnson, the safety, just blew in there, along with Rolando McClain.
See, if you see this, you've got to stop as a quarterback and let your back get in there. The center can get one, but if the back doesn't step up, there's no way you can get the other guy. The guard steps to get his man. You've got to allow that back to step up in there so he can take that blitz in the A-gap. If you don't, quarterback has no chance.
And Hardesty tried. He recognized it and dove for the guy's legs, but he couldn't get there.
Now you have to realign that guy.
Yeah. Daniel Lincoln for the field goal. And at least Tennessee gets a 3 out of it. It would have been a nightmare for them had they converted nothing out of that fumble recovery. And his teammates from the 1998 National Championship team honored on the field before tonight's game. That was the last time, incidentally, that Tennessee won the Southeastern Conference title. They won it back-to-back in 97 and 98. Arenas back to receive the kickoff with McCoy. Would like to atone for his fumble that allowed Tennessee to get that field goal. You just get the feeling, Todd, Tennessee really needed a touchdown there, not 3.
Can't afford to let too many of those go by the wayside.
Arenas from the 9. Runs into a crowd short of the 30. Fights his way across the 30. Take you back to January 4th, 99 in Tempe. It was the Fiesta Bowl. Number 1 ranked Tennessee would meet number 2 Florida State to decide the national championship. Dwayne Goodrich intercepted, already leading 7-0, returned at 54 yards for a touchdown and a 14-0 lead. The Seminoles would later close it within 5, but T. Martin's 4th quarter touchdown pass to Peerless Price would be the difference maker. Philip Fulmer and the Volunteers won their first national championship since 1951. John Parker Wilson, good protection again. And Mike McCoy.
There's pretty good pressure. Again, so far Tennessee has gotten some pressure. And McCoy was open, but I think the pressure forced the throw to be a little high, intended for McCoy. This Tennessee defense, I'll tell you, everybody knows Alabama's played great defense, and their numbers are outstanding. But Tennessee's defensive numbers pretty much just as good as Alabama's. Look at that. I mean, you can match these two defenses up, and they can play toe for toe. It's the Tennessee offense that's been a problem this year for the Volunteers.
I was just going to say those numbers would be better, except the offense has put them in so many holes. Whoa, what a knockout shot by Eric Berry as he depleted Marquise Mays. What a shot. This kid's only a sophomore.
Well, he is just so good at whatever he does, whether it's when he gets an interception, how he returns the ball. Watch the hit. Now, Mays doesn't see him. Eric Berry comes full speed. Oh, lowers the shoulder and drives him back. Eric Berry is going to play offense tonight, too. We're going to see him offensively for Tennessee. He's the best player on this football team.
That was a 360 in gymnastics. He'd get, what, a 9.5 for that one? Tennessee comes with a blitz. John Parker Wilson is going to try to throw it away and does. And the Tennessee pressure has made a difference. Dan Williams, who led this team in defensive line and tackles a year ago, number 55, put the pressure on.
And already, early in this ball game, John Parker Wilson has been knocked down 3 times. I mean, Tennessee is getting to the quarterback. And I know there has not been many first quarters this season for Alabama where John Parker Wilson has been on his backside.
I'd say none. P.J. Fitzgerald will punt. Dennis Rogan is back near his 25 to receive. Returnable kick, but he'll signal for a fair catch and make it at the 20. This week on Monday Night Football, it's an AFC. Starts at 7 Eastern. Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS. It's just hard to imagine that the numbers aren't reversed.
Yeah.
But when you can't run, even a great quarterback like Peyton Manning is going to have a problem throwing the ball. When you can't stop the run, he's going to have a tough time getting the ball.
Limited number of plays. I think we'll see Eric Berry this offensive possession if they get a couple first downs.
They blow this play dead.
Tennessee has a little package with Eric Berry as a wide receiver. And a lot of people think maybe he'll come in and play quarterback.
Start.
Hey, why don't we just let him play every play? This kid's unbelievable.
I don't know if he has that kind of stamina. And John Chavis, I don't think the defensive coordinator would like that.
No.
I mean, he is the centerpiece of this Tennessee defense from his free safety position, but he is special when he gets his hands on the football.
He really pumps up the crowd and pumps up his teammates as well. Lennon Creer is the new running back. He's been getting more and more playing time. This time he's gang tackled. Justin Woodall, the strong safety, held him up and then got a lot of help.
One of the reasons that Alabama has been so good on defense this year, here's Eric Berry, second possession, and they will line him up as a wide receiver, either out wide or in a slot, and most likely throw a quick screen or a bubble screen to him. Try to get him the football and let him do something with it. He's in the slot right over here.
He had a 72-yard interception return last week. He's just electric when he gets his hands on the football. There's the quick strike. Gets a block. Needed 2. And takes it to the 25-yard line. Lorenzo Washington made the tackle. Here's Holly.
Well, we asked Eric Berry yesterday, how will you know when you're supposed to be in on offense? He said, I don't know. We've never done this before. What happened, though, they sent a graduate assistant down here, one of the guys that's on headset. He ran down to the defensive bench, got Eric Berry. Berry came jogging over here. Guys, his eyes were big as quarters. There was a gleam in them. He was so excited, like, all right, it's finally my time.
Holly, they've used him on offense, defense, and special teams. Unless he's going to coach, he's about done everything they can ask of him. Stevens goes to the shotgun on 3rd and long. 4-man rush. Good pocket protection, throws incomplete. There were 4 white jerseys around the intended receiver, Justin Rogers. Javier Arenas was the guy who whacked him when the ball got there.
I'll tell you, I started to say one of the things that made Alabama's defense so good this year, in rundowns, they've been able to defend the run with 7 men in the box and not have to commit their safeties. They can keep their safeties back. And in pass situations, they've been able to get pressure with 4, and that enables them to play a lot of different combination coverages on 3rd down.
Todd, Tennessee has had the ball 3 times. They have 3 points, but they don't have a first down. Colquitt shanked it. Awful punt, something you don't see out of any of the Colquitts. It's become a Tennessee tradition, but this time he yanked it 22 yards down the right sideline. Alabama with a great start when we come back.
He's coming on a quarterback keeper. Comes up the middle. He's hit and he's hit down. At the 17, he fumbles the ball. Fumbles it forward. Alabama has recovered it. There he keeps himself. He's going to run it himself from 10 to the 15 to the 5. He scores. Harry Davis takes it in for Alabama.
Tennessee was on its way to a monumental upset of the number 3 team in the country and had that upset just disappear. So many unbelievable games between these teams and any rivalry in the SEC. John Parker Wilson to Jones. And the freshman picks up 13 yards. Check in with Reese Davis. Reese. Boy, Reese, Jimmy Clausen has really come on. He is the heart and soul of that Notre Dame team. And Washington, without Jake Locker, they're just dreadful. Coffee lost his balance, goes down at the 26. What do you think of the game plan so far? I mean, they're coming out throwing a lot more than I thought they would.
Well, I think they throw because throwing on early downs is when they're at their best. And when they can get into 3rd and manageable downs where they can still run, that's when Alabama plays their best. Because I still think one of the possible Achilles heel to this team right now is their pass protection in sure passing situations, 3rd and 7 plus. And there's some of their young receivers just getting open against good man-to-man coverage. But when you throw on early downs, makes it a lot easier.
Toss to Coffee, trying to get outside, and doesn't have a chance because of Eric Berry, who came up and submarined and took his legs right out from under him. This kid is special.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he's got a nose for the football. He's got great instincts. Tennessee plays their safeties deeper than just about anybody I've seen on tape. I mean, they really play those guys back, and it gives them good vision, and then they've got the speed to take great angles to the football.
The technique on that tackle, he didn't duck his head and just throw himself in there. He kept his eyes up, got a shoulder into the legs. He is so much fun to watch. 3rd down, Alabama. Blitz coming. John Parker Wilson rolling away from trouble. McCoy couldn't hold it.
Oh, my gosh, they're calling it catch. Now they're waving it off. Yeah, I didn't think he held it long enough. McCoy, one official was saying he had it. The other official was saying he bobbled it on his way out. Dennis Rogan was in coverage again. It was a well-thrown ball by John Parker Wilson on the move.
That's really good officiating.
Yeah.
I mean, as an official, you can't see every angle. So sometimes you need help from one of your buddies.
Yep. It's really a beautiful throw by John Parker. Moving to his right, throws it to the sideline. He's got a foot in, but he never had control of the ball. The one official was watching the feet, and the side judge was watching the ball. And they did a great job of working together. The foot was in, but possession was not maintained.
Rogan hammered at it, trying to knock it loose, and probably did. And now Tiffin from 43. He has already hit from 39. He's been true on both long field goal tries.
But Tennessee will take this. 6-3. They hold them to field goals. They're weathering the initial storm. We're almost out of the first quarter, and they are still in a 3-point football game. That's good for the Volunteers.
Welcome back to Knoxville. We have a field goal battle at 6-3. Seen some points rung up today, haven't we? And here is the best first half scoring margin from these 4 teams. 21-1. Alabama leads the nation in that department. And we talked about this quite a bit. They want that fast start. I mean, Nick Saban is just convinced that this is the way to go, and so far he's dead right.
Well, it takes a team out of their game plan that you're playing if you jump on them early, and if you do it on the road, it takes the crowd out of the football game. We were there at Georgia. I mean, the blackout, it was all the intensity, and they just jumped on them so quickly. The crowd was never a factor in that football game.
They disappeared.
Yeah.
Berry and Rogan are deep to receive. Berry from the 11. Cuts to the outside, gang tackle taken down near the 20-yard line. Eric Berry is a guy that's got a lot of talent a la Ronnie Lott. The Tennessee sophomore from Fairborn, Georgia. His dad played at Tennessee. A speedster, won the 200 meters in high school and was a starting quarterback at 37-5 in Fairburn.
Got a couple of twin brothers that are pretty good athletes, too. He was telling us his one 12-year-old brother had 6 touchdowns in his game last Saturday. 3 on returns, 2 catches, and 1 run. Not bad.
No. Foster back in, play fake to him. Stevens unloads and overthrows by a step. Austin Rogers was out there.
Yeah, he got behind both the corner Arenas and the safety Woodall. And just a slight overthrow by Stevens. You see the strength of Nick Stevens' arm. They went for a deep ball off play action on first down. And Tennessee's going to have to get some plays like this. They're going to have to get some plays where they get big chunks of yardage against this Alabama defense. They're not going to just slam on this defense and move the ball methodically down the field.
And you've got to be able to hit him when that guy has a step. Just like you have to be able to score touchdowns after a fumble recovery that they had early in the game rather than settling for field goal. Alabama's secondary is good enough so that you're not going to get a step on these guys very many times during the course of a game.
Yeah, in a game like this against a high-quality team like Alabama, you don't know. You might get 4, 5, 6 opportunities in a game to make a big play, to take advantage of something. You've got to capitalize. If you don't, they're going to be very minimal. This is a well-coached Alabama team defensively that is very seldom out of position and very seldom giving up big-time plays.
Tennessee is still looking for its first down of the ball game. Alabama shows blitz. Here they come. Stevens throws, almost intercepted. Walker, that looked like offensive interference as he was draped all over the middle linebacker, Rolando McClain.
But I'll tell you what, Luke Stocker did the right thing, because if he doesn't make a play on the defender, this is an interception. Pressure forces an errant throw by Stevens. McClain is there to make the play, and Luke Stocker does a great job of breaking up the interception. Even if he gets a penalty there, it's better than giving up an interception.
So they'll have to punt it away again. Colquitt, who had a 22-yarder last time, will punt to Arenas, who's averaging almost 16 yards a return.
See if he tries to put it on the sideline again. There's another good one. He's had 2 good ones and 1 bad one.
Arenas hammered again as he got to the 30-yard line. 46-yard punt, no return. Last week against Ole Miss, Alabama junior nose guard Terrence Cody, Mount Cody, suffered an injury to his right knee on this play in the 3rd quarter against Ole Miss. An MRI has revealed the injury to be a strained ligament. It won't need surgery, but will sideline him for a couple of weeks. Well, what that does more than anything, it affects their rotation, right?
Yeah, it affects their rotation, and he's so big, he always gets a double team. But look, with or without him, they are still strong in the middle. Part of that is because the guy behind him, Josh Chapman, not as big, but very active, and those 2 big linebackers playing on the inside.
See what Alabama does on first down. Will they throw again? Now, this time they'll run it for nothing. Mark Ingram is hit. There is a penalty marker down. Ingram didn't have a chance, swarmed by that Tennessee defensive line. And you're right, Tennessee is certainly holding its own on defense.
Well, again, you've got to reiterate, they've outscored their opponents 95-3 in the first quarter.
It was a legal formation with 7 men on the line, therefore there is no foul. Second down.
95-3, and Alabama is trailing, or Tennessee is trailing 6-3. So I would say they are competing early in this football game, and defensively, I just see them getting a little bit more confident each play.
Well, that will end the first quarter, a first quarter where Tennessee does not have a first down, but they do have a field goal that has them on the board. Coming up,
Really got a good piece.
Good deal. That one should be without gravy. You don't want to put gravy on a piece of meat like that. John Parker Wilson under pressure again, in that Tennessee defense doing its job. They need some help offensively. You can check out all of this season's Taste of the Towns at ESPN.com. Just search Taste of the Town. Well, I'm glad you were honest about that, because if you could see the size of the piece of meat, if we could go back and look at that again, people could see there's no way you're going to be able to see that again. There's no way you were going to say anything except vroom, vroom, which is probably the best way to describe that.
It was good. Look at this pressure. Tennessee is getting after them today. I mean, I'm sure Alabama did not anticipate that their offensive line would have this kind of trouble, but the problem, I really think Alabama's weak area offensively is in pass situations and just pure pass protection. This is a four-man rush. It's not a blitz, but Robert Ayers, their best pass rusher, gets in and forces John Parker Wilson to throw the football away. They are not a great drop-back pass-protecting football team.
He's playing like his hair's on fire. I mean, he's really coming. And John Parker Wilson has only hit 2 out of his last 9. He started 4 for 4. Fitzgerald to punt to Rogan. And Rogan, no chance. Excellent kick coverage by both ball clubs tonight. A loss of 1 after a 49-yard punt. Here's Reese. All right, Reese, thanks very much. Tennessee still searching for that first down. Takes over at the 20. Running play straight up the middle. Absolutely nothing doing. Montario Hardesty ran into a stone wall at the line of scrimmage.
You know, and I think a problem for Tennessee all year is they have not had any consistency running the football. I mean, they came in tonight averaging 125 yards a game running the football. Now, last week against Mississippi State, which is a good SEC defense, not necessarily a great one, they gained 139 yards. But you have got to have some success running the football. Look at what they've done against the SEC this year. 1 yard in their loss to Georgia. I mean, you've got to have some balance and take pressure off of a young quarterback, and you've got an experienced offensive line to do it.
Pressure coming on Stevens. They go screen the other way. Blockers in front. And that's very, very close to a first down for Brandon Warren. Let's go to Holly.
Well, guys, just before they took the field for this series, the Tennessee offensive line was here on the sideline. Their coach, Greg Adkins, finally pulled the running backs over. He's trying to make some subtle adjustments. There seems to be some confusion with what the running backs are reading. After finally describing everything, the center, Josh McNeil, kind of got frustrated and said, "What's so confusing about this, guys?" They are trying to get on the same page by drawing it up over here on the sidelines.
Well, they need to. They've got to match this Alabama defense. 3rd and 1's a great chance to do it.
Holly, good job. Hardesty, the tailback, on 3rd and short. First down, Tennessee. It occurs at the 13:04 mark of the second quarter. The first down. Kevin Cooper and Austin Johnson, 2 fullbacks in there trying to clear the way.
And now after that first down, a good opportunity here for a play-action pass and get Nick Stevens to get a little rhythm going. He has not looked sharp throwing the football, but he's got to make some plays tonight for Tennessee. They've got to hit some pass plays, and he's got to complete better than 50% of his passes.
Plus, they've got to have a decent drive. That defense has been on the field an awful lot. Stevens on a roll, throws, complete, gain of 9, got it to Briscoe. For a gain of 9, Woodall took him out of bounds. Nick Stevens, who had never taken a snap at Tennessee before this year, grew up in Flower Mound, Texas. How many Texas quarterbacks are there? Political science major, originally committed to the Rebels at Ole Miss, and now is taking over for Jonathan Crumpton.
And committed to Ole Miss. Noel Mazzoni was the offensive coordinator there. He really liked him. And then Noel Mazzoni was out of Ole Miss, and he changed to Tennessee or Michigan. One of those two.
This will be the second straight first down. They're not getting a lot, but Montario Hardesty got enough on that one for the first down.
It was a tough break for Jonathan Crompton to get benched this year. He had waited his turn behind Eric Ainge, and but for whatever reason just was not as productive as they thought he might be. And this guy, Nick Stevens, has been a guy who's been better in games than he hasn't been in practice. He's kind of a gamer. He's got some moxie. He's got a little bit of an attitude that I like, and but he's going to have to play well tonight for the Volunteers.
Alabama crowding the line again. Draw play. Hardesty to the 49-yard line. Gained about 5.
Yeah, you mentioned quarterbacks from the state of Texas. There are actually 19 starting quarterbacks in all of college football. But even in this league, the SEC, there are 5 starting quarterbacks in this league from the state of Texas. I mean, really kind of an unusual year for that. Nick Stevens making his 4th start tonight for Tennessee. Matthew Stafford, a huge game today in a win over LSU.
Well, as big as high school football is and as talented as there are individual players in Texas, it's still surprising that they're that number.
Yep.
You know, sometimes you look at statistics and take, for example, Tennessee. You'll see a team either runs pretty well and doesn't throw at all, or throws really well, doesn't run at all. They're 85th in the country in rushing. They're 96th in the country in passing. So really, they've been basically mediocre or worse at everything on offense.
Well, there's a couple of things. You've got a new offensive coordinator in Dave Clawson, so it's a new system. And now your second quarterback, and neither one of those guys had played at all coming into this year. So there's a lot of newness, and it's taken a long time for them to mesh. They thought they took a step forward last week, but this is Alabama, not Mississippi State.
3rd and 6 for Stevens. They come with a blitz. He throws underneath, complete. They're going to mark it just shy of a first down. Lucas Taylor made the catch, and Kareem Jackson was there.
Now, this might be an area of the field that Philip Fulmer decides to go for it. When you're in your own territory, maybe not. Well, he's going to kick the football, it looks like. He's bringing Colquitt on.
He's really upset with the officials right now. He thought he got a bad spot on that. And I'm not sure he doesn't have a case.
But that's Alabama's defense, too. They just do not give you any easy throws. They challenge everything. They clamp down on all your short routes, and you have to really beat them and get up the field to make a play.
Colquitt, who missed the first 5 games, suspended for a DUI. Back and kicking as well as ever, it appears. Beautiful. And Tennessee will down it at the 3. LaMarcus Thompson, after a 45-yard punt and no return. Now the crowd likes the decision.
Fickle fan.
Take a look at tonight's trivia question. Tennessee is one of only 2 schools to have 2 separate coaches who have won at least 150 games at the same school. What's the other school to accomplish that feat? It's a little harder than we've had in the past. Alabama has to start at its own 3. Coffee trying to wedge out a little running room.
Well, Tennessee on their last possession did not score, obviously, but they accomplished 2 things. Number 1, they held the ball for 5 minutes and 14 seconds. And even more importantly, they flipped the field position. They got the beautiful Colquitt punt. Their defense downed it, and now they've got Alabama pinned down just outside the 5-yard line. So a stop here, and Tennessee will get the football on a short field, most likely.
Tennessee still with the time of possession advantage. Upchurch is in there with Coffee and John Parker Wilson to throw. Upchurch made the catch, goes down at the 8-yard line. Holly, what do you have?
You guys talked about John Parker Wilson, quarterback for Alabama, maybe not being used to being on his back so often in the first quarter. Well, guys, he's really literally taking it on the chin as well. He had to come over and get the bottom of his chin bandaged. He's opened up a slight cut. Didn't appear to be dazed or have a concussion.
They really are. I mean, they are creating pressure, and they're pushing on the pressure point of this Alabama defense, which is their pass protection, not play action, drop back pass protection.
Third and long. Draw play, exactly what you would expect.
Yeah.
Coffee trying to give them some more running room. He's going to be at least a yard shy, and they'll have to kick it out of there.
And that play right there shows you what Jim McElwain, the offensive coordinator, and Nick Saban think about the way the Tennessee defense is pressuring their quarterback. We don't know, not quite sure we can protect him in this part of the field. Let's be conservative. Let's run a safe running play and try to punt it out of here.
So Fitzgerald will come on and kick out of his own end zone. And Rogan stands near midfield. They almost got there. In fact, it may have been partially blocked. It was. Tennessee gambles and wins. Montario Hardesty comes through and gets a piece. The kick is only 20 yards. We saw 2 block kicks earlier in the day, Florida against Kentucky. Those things were easily blocked. Hardesty just got there on this one.
Well, he's out on the outside. He's a running back. He's in a sprinter stance, and he's going to come right inside and take a great path to the football and get a piece of it. Doesn't get a clean block, but enough of it to give Tennessee excellent position.
Boy, that was a whiff on the protection, wasn't it? Now, Tennessee with great field position again. Can they take advantage? Creer dancing toward the hole, didn't have a chance. Dante Hightower was there. If you joined us late, Tennessee had a 1st and goal at the 5 after a fumbled punt. Couldn't convert. In fact, they lost 9 yards on the possession and had to settle for a field goal. They're only going to get so many opportunities.
Yep, that's right. Got to capitalize against an outstanding defense. I mean, a defense that has played solid all season, but you have got to make plays when you have the opportunity.
Stevens to throw. Buying time. And throws it away.
All the receivers are to the left of the formation. He was flushed out to the right. There was nobody to throw to over there. He did the only thing he could, throw it away, but there's 2 plays in great field position that netted them a half a yard. And now here they are, 3rd and 9.5, again, against this Alabama defense.
Do you like something conservative here to set up a field goal?
No, I think you got to throw the football. I think you got to try to make the first down. You're not going to beat Alabama by kicking field goals. You're going to have to score some touchdowns. So be aggressive, but don't take a sack and knock yourself out of field goal range.
Lincoln has the leg. From here, it would be about 48 yards. He can certainly do that. Little flanker screen. They're going to lose yardage. So you come up with a conservative call, Denarius Moore on the flanker screen, but Ali Sharif makes the tackle. You can't do 2 things. You can't be conservative and then lose yardage on it.
Nope, you think you're going to get something positive, but what a great read and an angle to the football by Sharif. I mean, he read it quickly, they compressed it, and he took a great angle to the football, and now you're looking at a very difficult situation. Tennessee, after the partially blocked punt, is going to have to punt it right back.
51 yards, maybe plus a little from here. And we've got a timeout with 5 minutes and 49 seconds to go in the first half. Tennessee's going to think about it, I believe. We'll have our Aflac trivia question answer when we come back. Some of the images of tonight's game. Smokey's a good boy. He's getting a little concerned, though. This will be a 51-yard field goal try. Lincoln has already hit a short one.
Well, I don't know.
And this one is well short.
His longest this season, 47. Last year, his longest, 48. And well short on this one. Straight, well short.
But back to the point we made earlier, you only get so many opportunities and you can't keep throwing them away.
And that's a credit also to Alabama. I mean, you can look at it negatively, Tennessee not cashing in, but Alabama in sudden change situations, being able to get their defense back on the field in tough places and just snuff them right there. 3 plays, give it back to the offense.
They took over the last time at the 3. Now they're out near the 34. John Parker Wilson on first down. Jones. He was wide open on a post. He's into Tennessee territory. A 19-yard gain. Back to your idea about throwing the ball on first down is the best time to pass.
It's the best time for Alabama because you have to respect run, and that helps your pass protection because they don't just pin their ears back and rush the quarterback. And then Julio Jones, a big physical receiver. I think he's just getting better every week. I mean, he's getting better at running routes. He's getting better at getting open against man coverage. And he's got that physical body to fight off defenders.
And a kid that the coaches really like because they say he wants to get better, so he's willing to work hard. John Parker Wilson and Jones again to the 12-yard line.
Well, there was some pushing and shoving there, and normally this doesn't go against the offense. Julio Jones is a big physical receiver who does a great job of shielding defenders with his body.
D'Angelo Willingham had the coverage, and the officials talking it over.
This was a beautiful throw by John Parker Wilson as well.
Prior to the pass, holding number 24, defense. A penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
Jones, 4 catches, 82 yards, and you're right. John Parker Wilson knew he was going to get it right in the chops.
Well, Julio Jones, watch him just use his body. He's big and strong. It's not easy to get him off his course. I didn't see a whole lot of holding there, but the ball was thrown over the outside shoulder, which is the perfect place the quarterback to put it. Away from the defender, let your receiver go get it.
1st and 10 at the Tennessee 12. Coffee picks up nearly 5 yards. The market just outside the 7-yard line. Clock running. 4:47 to go in the first half here in Knoxville.
A couple of first down passes for John Parker Wilson when the protection is holding up. And that's a good decision by Jim McElwain. Go back to throwing on early downs. That's when our protection is going to be the most sound. And now they're right down inside the 10-yard line.
Call it 2nd and 6. Coffee again. And Tennessee got pressure right up the middle from Alex Wilson, the middle linebacker, and he nearly messed up the play in the backfield. Nearly had a big loss.
He really timed this out. Alex Wilson from his middle linebacker spot timed it. Nobody picked him up, and that disrupted Glenn Coffee. He had to kind of sidestep him and lost momentum going to the line of scrimmage.
Wilson, a big-time linebacker out of Memphis. 3rd and goal. McCoy and Jones, the wide receivers to the left side. Back the other side to Coffee. Coffee inside the 5, near the 2. You've got to reach the 2 for a first down. Wilson on the tackle again. And it looks like it may be a half-yard shy where they want to spot it.
Well, Nick Saban looks like he's going to go for it here. Now, you would expect them to run left behind big Andre Smith and Mike Johnson, their left guard, and also watch Travis McCall, number 83, the move tight end. Watch him see if he doesn't end up right on that left side as well.
The last time they had short yardage, it was a quarterback keeper. Off the left side, Coffee. Touchdown. Mike Johnson, the left guard, was the guy who really cleared it out. Tell you what, short yardage, you got to run behind those guys every time.
Yep. Well, Travis McCall, the tight end, got a great block, too. Watch these guys block down. McCall's going to get a block. Nick Walker's going to get a block. And Glenn Coffey's going to find the end zone. Upchurch is leading the way. Mike Johnson's out there. They gave him a seam. He knew where the end zone was, got to score.
That was a statement call by Nick Saban. How much he trusts his defense in case they didn't make it, and how much he trusts his offense and the fact that he went for the touchdown instead of the field goal. And now the answer to tonight's trivia question. Tennessee, one of only 2 schools to have 2 coaches who have won at least 150 games at the same school. What's the other institution to accomplish that feat? The answer, Michigan. Fielding Yost and Bo Schembechler. I think the answer to any trivia question regarding Michigan is Fielding Yost, who was the first history professor, who built the stadium with his bare hands. It's always Fielding Yost. Rogan and Creer are deep to receive. Rogan belted at the 22. Let's take a look back with our Mercedes-Benz drive recap. John Parker Wilson on that drive threw for 58 yards. He'd only thrown for 59 in the previous 5 drives.
Well, they came out and threw on a couple early downs. They got the Tennessee defense expecting run, and John Parker made 2 beautiful throws to Julio Jones, and then the decision to go for it on 4th and goal. Glenn Coffey gets it into the end zone behind the block of Mike Johnson. And a statement drive after the missed Tennessee field goal. Alabama responded.
Julio Jones going to be pretty good, isn't he?
Boy.
He really glides when he runs. Alabama crowds the line of scrimmage. Draw play. Out to the 31 for Foster. Let's check in with Reese Davis. Reese?
All right, Mike, coming up.
All right, Reese. Tennessee trying to get that first down. Hardesty.
Well, there's Josh
Close.
Chapman right there. The guy who's in for Terrence Cody.
Yeah.
He's not as big, but he is probably the strongest guy on the team, and he's very quick off the ball. And he uses his quickness and his strength to get into the backfield. Here he is right here. Watch him. Just holds up the guard with his strength and then his quickness to get into the backfield and stop the ball carrier short. Everybody's wondering, what is Alabama's defense going to do without Terrence Cody? Well, Josh Chapman is a pretty good football player.
Funny when you talk, he's not as big. He's 305.
Yeah, right. I know. Everything's relative.
Yes, it is. Hardesty again. He's smeared.
Second effort might have got it.
Marcel Darius drilled him but couldn't hold him. And that is a clutch run by Arian Foster. I mean, he got nailed by a 280-pounder and just fought him off. And they're getting an awful lot of penetration up front.
Tennessee going with a no huddle right now.
If you want to check out the Notre Dame-Washington game, we have a red zone alert for you. Pass underneath, dropped. Excellent coverage. And the ball got there about the same time. Lucas Taylor got a hand on it, but Rashad Johnson banged it.
And this secondary is so well coached between Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, who is the defensive back coach and considered the defensive coordinator. They are both excellent coaches, and they are reading the eyes of Nick Stevens. The safeties are reading the eyes of the quarterback and closing on the football quickly.
Alabama has all of its timeouts left. May start calling them defensively. Have a chance to get the ball back here. Stevens deep post. Perfect throw. Big catch by Stocker. Luke Stocker, the tight end for 26. And now Tennessee hustles up to the line.
Well, cover 2, that means the safety split the middle of the field. One of the weak areas is right down the middle with the tight end or a slot receiver, and Stocker does a nice job getting into that void and making a big catch.
This would be huge if Tennessee can get anything out of this. Stevens again. First down and more, out of bounds at the 23-yard line. They're in field goal territory. A gain of 19 yards.
Well, they got Foster matched up man for man against Dante Hightower, the freshman linebacker, on a little option route. And he beat him to the outside. And that time, Nick Stevens put the ball in a place where he could catch it and turn upfield and add yardage to the play.
Plus, there's plenty of time.
Oh, yeah.
40 seconds, 2 timeouts at their disposal. So they can call anything they want here. Blitz coming. They pick it up beautifully. Stevens Boy, had his shot. Lucas Taylor had a step, although Marquise Johnson had pretty good position in the trail technique.
He had a step on Marquise Johnson. This ball has to have a little more air under it. It's a little flat, which means that the flatter the throw, the more perfect it has to be. The more air you put under it, you have a little bit more margin of air. You throw to that back pylon and hope your guy runs to it.
That one had no margin of error.
No, zero.
Volunteers have done very well in this drive in the 2-minute drill. Stevens completes another one. This one down to the 14-yard line. Rogers made the catch. They'll stop it temporarily while they move the chains, and now Tennessee's going to take a timeout. Tomorrow afternoon on ABC, we invite you to watch the chase for the Cup. Points leader Jimmie Johnson tries to win his second straight race and put some distance between himself and the rest of the field. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup in Atlanta tomorrow on ABC. Our coverage starts at 1 Eastern. Jimmie Johnson's really had the benefit of all those rainouts in qualifying. It just puts him automatically on the pole. That's pretty good.
Well, he's the leader and going for history, but it's a 1.5 mile track in Atlanta and also next week in Texas, and that's not necessarily his best. Carl Edwards has won a couple times on the 1.5 miles already this year.
My man, the gearhead. Get all your NASCAR updates right here. The man to my right. National championship quarterback at Penn State. Garage full of toys. He's ready.
3rd and short. 1 timeout left for Tennessee, 25 seconds. You get the first down, the clock will stop momentarily. You don't necessarily have to waste this last timeout after this play, but you must get the first down.
They send out only one wide receiver, Quentin Hancock. He's the man in motion. Now they toss it to Hardesty. There's a flag down. That is in the area where you would think it's a hold.
Yep.
And what a huge mistake that would be.
Darian Foster carries. Knocked out of bounds.
An offensive lineman has got to know he can't hold there. Well, this one is going to be a 5-yard variety. It was a very late flag for something of that nature. The running back was already to the corner when that flag went down.
Illegal formation. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage on the offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, another mistake inside the 20.
Got to have 7 up there, and that's a costly error. Now it's instead of 3rd and 1, it's 3rd and 6, and you lost time. You lost 7 seconds with that penalty.
And now they have to throw. 5-man rush. Stevens with time. Throws underneath. That's a first down.
Another flag
to the
down.
9-yard line. Lucas Taylor makes the catch. First down, but there's a marker back at the 13. Offensive interference.
Well, they called it on the inside receiver. They thought they were setting up kind of a pick play. It wasn't on the guy who caught the football. It was on Luke Stalker, the tight end, I believe, 88.
Pass interference. Number 12, offense.
Oh, gosh,
15
no, it
yards.
wasn't.
Remains 3rd down.
Going to
called
call
it off.
Lucas Taylor. That's
Lucas Taylor working.
Oh,
man, you
jeez.
can't. I mean, the arm was extended, but that was not. I don't think that's offensive interference. Didn't even knock Jackson back at all. Boy, what mistakes right at the end of the half for Tennessee. We talked about the opportunities. How many will they have?
Boy, oh boy. Well, we have mentioned this several times during the game. If you're Tennessee, you come in 3-4, you're playing the number 2 team in the country. You're only going to get so many opportunities. They recovered a fumble at the 5-yard line, turned that into a field goal. They lost 9 yards on that drive. Now they're deep in Alabama territory, and that's the second straight penalty they've had on the offense.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, it's tough enough to beat any team when you do that.
Yeah.
But the #2 team in the country, it's almost impossible to beat them. And then you see, you know, Alabama struggling a little bit, but when they got a chance to put something together and get a drive, they capitalized, and they capitalized with a touchdown. Tennessee had a lot of opportunities this first half that have kind of gotten wasted away.
And this is huge for Tennessee because it's 13-3. A field goal gets them back within 1 touchdown. And when you're only 7 down, anything can happen.
That's
a
right.
fumble, a punt block, an interception, anything. But they've got to get there first. And from here, it would be another 51-yard field goal try. Daniel Lincoln has already missed from 51.
Really costly.
And now you've got to be careful that this play doesn't last forever and run the clock out. Blitz coming. They throw underneath.
Gonna call timeout right
Green
here.
down to the 26, and they will get the timeout. Bobby Greenwood makes the tackle.
Pretty good play. They got enough back to give Lincoln some confidence in trying to make this kick right before the half.
I like that play call, didn't you?
I did too. It was a blitz, so it was the right time to call it too. Alabama was trying to knock them completely out of the way.
You can get your weekly dose of NFL news and analysis tomorrow. Stevens pretty good in that hurry-up offense. 4 out of 7 on that drive. Lincoln, who is 1 for 2, woefully short on a 51-yarder, will have a much more makeable try here. They'll spot it at the 33, so it's a 43-yard try. Can't squander any more chances if you're Tennessee. Your field goal kicker needs to come through for you here. And Alabama going to try to freeze them a little bit. Here's tonight's Good Hands flashback presented by Allstate. Take you back a ways to 1992 here in Knoxville, led by Derek Lassik's 2 first-half touchdown runs. Alabama was up 17-0. Tennessee closed the gap in the 4th quarter. Heath Schuler to David Horn for a touchdown to make it 17-10. But they could get no closer as Chris Donnelly intercepted Schuler to secure the victory. Schuler went on to be, there's Gene Stallings, terrific coach at Alabama. Schuler went on to be a first-round draft choice for the Washington Redskins and is now in Congress.
You know, we talk about this rivalry and the intensity of it, and everybody, you know, knows about Alabama-Auburn, but they, in-state rivals, have only played 72 times. This is the 91st time that Alabama and Tennessee, and for the older members of both these teams' fan base, this is the rivalry that goes back with the deepest root.
It is. Lincoln to make it a 1-touchdown game. And he's wide left. That is a killer. Philip Fulmer watches his team march down, get into chip shot field goal territory, commit 2 penalties, and push back to a much longer try, and then they miss it. Let's go to Holly Rowe.
Coach, what sense of frustration do you have right now that you haven't capitalized on some of Alabama's mistakes?
We had certainly an opportunity there that we made ourselves in the 2-minute offense and just flat screwed it up, you know. So we're in a close, hard-fought SEC football game and got a whole 30 minutes left to play.
Coach, that's the good news, though. They've come out to such a quick start. What do you like about how your team competed to keep this close like this?
Oh, we've held our own. We've competed hard. We just, you know, a little bit of not as smart as we'd like to be right there at the end. And we need to make those 2 field goals, or at least one of the 2.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Holly. Our halftime score, Alabama 13. 13-3 Alabama at the half. Take a look at the first half stats. The disparity really isn't that much. 37 yards. Alabama had the only turnover, but Tennessee only turned that into a field goal. The penalties doesn't look like much. 3 for 25, but those 3 penalties were at such critical spots for Tennessee.
Well, they all 3 occurred when Tennessee had the ball inside the Alabama 20-yard line. So they all affected scoring opportunities in that first half.
And Alabama not penalized at all. Tennessee will have the ball first as we start the second half, and they'll have the ball inside the 25-yard line. You predicted earlier this week, and when we were talking about this ball game, that it was going to be much closer than a lot of people thought. I thought Alabama, quite honestly, would come in here and handle Tennessee. They've acquitted themselves pretty well.
Well, Tennessee's played good defense pretty much all season. I mean, we saw them in the UCLA game, and they weren't a great defense at that point. But the last several weeks, they've played extremely well. All their SEC games, the defense has played well. The offense has been the real stumbling block for this Tennessee football team. And they had opportunities in that first half. I think this drive right here is very important for Tennessee to establish something with their offense.
Play action fake. There goes the opportunity. It's a huge loss as Javier Arenas comes off the corner. It's a loss of 9 on the sack.
A perfect call. Corner blitz right into the bootleg. Quarterback has no chance. I mean, he's got to get his head and eyes around, but you're not anticipating a corner blitz on that play. Well-timed call by Kirby Smart and Nick Saban on that blitz.
By the time he carries out the fake and makes his spin, the guy's within a step and a half of him, and that's pretty tough. So now you back him up for a 2nd and 19. Nick Saban, throughout his career, has been one of the best guys in the world coaching pressure on the quarterback. They blitz from every conceivable angle. Let's go to Holly Rowe.
Well, I checked in with Nick Saban at the half, and I asked him about what his offense had to do to get back on track, and he said, our offense is fine. You guys don't realize this is a really good defense we're facing. He said his message to his team in the locker room was, you've got to play like you're down by 14. We need to have the complete game. Guys, the only problem with that, he's been saying that over and over in the second half. I've heard him say that to his team on numerous occasions. They've been outscored by their opponents in the second half.
Well, that's because they've never been down by 14, Holly. They just don't fall behind. 3rd and very long. Stevens stands in the middle, throws incomplete. Looked like his receiver slipped. He was looking for Lucas Taylor, and it looked like he lost his footing coming across the middle. The pass was well high. The attendance tonight, the listed capacity of the stadium, 102,038. The attendance, 106,138. So we've got some folks standing, and it's a fire marshal friendly crowd. Colquitt to kick to Arenas. No rush. Line drive kick. Arenas across midfield as a seam. Got a great block. Cuts back again. What a return by Arenas to the 33. Colquitt did not get a lot of hang time on that one, and it cost him a 40-yard line drive kick.
You're exactly right, Mike, because he kicked it in the right spot to the sideline, but he didn't kick it high enough to allow his coverage guys to get down there. They've done a pretty good job of that all evening. That time the low kick really hurt him.
Nice block by Upchurch to spring him for some extra yards, and great field position. Alabama will start at the Tennessee 33. They're already up by 10, and this could be a dagger if they can finish this drive with a touchdown. Coffee hasn't had much room to run tonight. He's down to the 27 on this one. A gain of 5 for the junior running back out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
Alabama is just a solid football team. I mean, they are solid in all phases. They're not spectacular on offense because I think their passing game is a little bit behind their running game. But boy, defensively, they're about as good as there is out there right now. Part of it's talent, part of it's scheme, but they are good.
They are pretty tough. Coffee on the delay. Just tripped up, should have enough for a first down. They'll mark it close to the 22. They had to reach the 23. Rico McCoy, the outside linebacker, made sure he didn't go any further than that.
Well, one of the things I think, if you want to have a championship team, whether it's a conference or a national championship, you've got to be solid in your offensive line, strong up front on both sides of the football, and I think it takes an experienced quarterback. And Alabama has that. I mean, they are strong in both of their offense and defensive lines. And John Parker Wilson, an experienced veteran starter, and you can see just by his poise on the road, that is huge for a team.
Coffee again, a couple. You pointed out something in the first half that I thought was very interesting. Maybe the chink in their armor. They are not a great pass blocking team.
Right.
These guys, most guys who are great run blockers are not great pass blockers.
That's exactly right. I mean, that happens in the NFL. It happens in college football. But
sure,
they are a power football team run blocking. And so, therefore, their play action passing is really their best. That's what they're best suited for, because it shows like run and it sets up like run and it helps those linemen. And then throwing on early downs is to their advantage.
Out of the shotgun, Tennessee shows a 5-man front. They back out of it. John Parker Wilson throws. They're going to rule that complete at the 14-yard line. Stover makes the catch. Nikita Stover, only his 4th grab of the season. They expected a lot more out of this senior. He missed all of spring practice and a lot of fall practice with injuries, so he's been way behind. 3rd and about 2.
Well, again, this 3rd and short has been a real problem for Tennessee this season. An opportunity right now to force Alabama to settle for another field goal if they can get a stop.
Upchurch and Ingram are the backs. Ingram picking his way. He's going to be short.
Yeah.
Well, you'd rather see somebody just hammer it up there than dance into the hole on 3rd and 2. But he was looking for a crease. And here comes the field goal.
I agree with what Nick Saban told Holly. I mean, this is a good Tennessee defense. I mean, you know, they're a legitimate top-level SEC defense. And John Chavis has really done a good job with this group. We knew they had talent in the back end. I think their front 7 has really developed through the course of this season and has played much better.
Lee Tiffin with his shortest field goal try of the night. This one only from 30 yards. He's perfect on this one as well. So Tiffin has hit 3, and Alabama extends its lead to 16-3 over Tennessee. Tennessee with a chance to get the ball back here. They're going to have to make something happen. Right now, they're only down 2 scores. But this is a team that has not put a lot of points on the board against a terrific Alabama defense.
Alabama is just so solid. I mean, they don't make many mistakes. And Tennessee, on the other hand, it's really been their mistakes that have been their undoing tonight. They had great field position in certain situations. They missed a 51-yard field goal. Then Lincoln came up a little short. Then they got down there again. They had the pass interference penalty on Lucas Taylor. Also had a penalty before that forced a longer field goal attempt, and they missed that one. I mean, the bottom line in this football game is that each team has crossed the 50-yard line 4 times. Alabama scored a touchdown and 3 field goals. Tennessee had a field goal, 2 missed field goals, and a punt.
And the field goal they had, they started at the Alabama 5, 1st and goal.
Yeah.
They were driven back to the 14 and had to kick the field goal from that as the line of scrimmage. Hardesty taken down by McClain, the middle linebacker.
I mean, you could get a feel for this game really early on that both defenses were going to control the action. I mean, Tennessee's defense came to play, Alabama's defense playing like they have all year. And so when you get chances to score, you must capitalize. And Alabama has done that tonight, and Tennessee has not.
2nd and 8. McClain shows blitz. Here it comes. Draw play. Hardesty goes down. Dante Hightower lined up beside him. McClain came, looped around, made the tackle. Let's go to Holly.
Well, guys, as you mentioned earlier, Tennessee is breaking in a brand new offensive coordinator this season, Dave Clawson. And think about this. He left a head coaching position. He was the head coach at Richmond and took a coordinator position. We asked him earlier, with all the controversy, everything that's going on down here at Tennessee with their record, was he regretting that decision? He said, heck no, I'm glad I'm here. I wouldn't change a thing, and I'm fighting to stay here.
Well, you just hope he gets the opportunity. He's a proven good coach. But it's what have you done for me lately in this business. Briscoe appeared to have a 1st down, backed up a step, may have cost himself a chance at the 1st down instead of going forward for another yard, keeping the drive alive.
Tennessee did a nice job of picking up the blitz. It was another corner blitz. And Tennessee picked it up, and Stevens made a nice throw, but Briscoe trying to make more out of that play may have cost his team the first down.
And it's a receiver's responsibility to know where the sticks are and where he is. So they will have to kick it away, and you see they're talking to Briscoe on the sideline. Arenas, who had that nice return last time, waiting for Colquitt's kick. This is a beauty.
See how much higher it forces the fair catch. Same part of the field, but to get the hang time that time, Arenas has to fair catch it.
And 16-3 Alabama here in Knoxville, Tennessee, with 8:03 to go third quarter. Alabama has the ball again. They'll start just outside their own 20-yard line. Play action, John Parker Wilson again on first down. This is when he has had a chance to throw an awful lot tonight. McCoy will make the catch. His first grab of the night and only his 11th of the season.
I'll tell you what John Parker did here. This was good pressure again by Tennessee, but he does a nice job. Watch him step up in the pocket. He feels the pressure. He moves up in the pocket and buys himself a half a second more to make the throw to McCoy. I mean, Tennessee brought pressure. He did a nice job of feeling it, keeping his eyes downfield, stepping up and making the throw.
That's the experience of a senior. This time they go on the ground to Mark Ingram, and here's Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, Tennessee wide receiver Josh Briscoe just didn't get that first down for his team, and he was sitting over here on the sidelines. His wide receiver coach kind of chewed him out about it, but his quarterback, Nick Stevens, came to the sideline, and he said, "What are you smiling about?" He got in his face, started yelling at everybody, saying, "This is ridiculous. We got to get it going." It was some pretty strong words from a sophomore, guys. He was in their face.
Well, Briscoe still with a smile on his face. Of course, you hate to take it out of context. You don't know what somebody said to him that made him smile. Jones spins to stay in bounds, gets to midfield. Well, it's, you know, if you're a player right now, if you're for Tennessee, this is a very proud football tradition. It's about time that somebody on the sidelines is telling their teammates to suck it up. Because they've got a chance to go 3-5 here if they lose this game, and they want to beat Alabama in the worst way.
And you almost feel like their defense is going to have to be the group that steps up and makes a play. Eric Berry, I mean, he has been spectacular when he's intercepted the football. And they almost need somebody on this defense to step up and make a big play. There's a ball loose.
Ball's on the ground. Eric Berry, touchdown. Now we'll go back. It looked like he was down. At first blush, it looked like he was down. Eric Berry, I was just going to say, has 5 interceptions this year. 10 returns for a touchdown, or 10 interceptions in his career. Had a return of 72 yards a week ago on an interception. Now we'll have to review this.
Well, it was good penetration regardless by Tennessee. The ruling on the field is that the runner was down. It was great penetration by the interior of the defense, and Ingram was hit in the backfield. There's the penetration by Bolden. Now, was his body down before the ball came out? You see it come out from his left arm. Did his backside hit the ground before the ball came out? Wow.
Close, but keep in mind, it was called.
It was called that he was down. So it had
on
to
the
be,
field.
yeah.
So it's got to be conclusive to overturn it, and there's nothing conclusive there. Do you see?
It doesn't look conclusive, no, to overturn that call. I mean, but
looked like he was down just at the same time the ball came loose. That is so close. Maybe just a split second before he's down.
the bottom bottom line is this is the group that's on the field right now for Tennessee that's going to have to make a play because their offense is showing no capability of making a big play right now. And it's been an offense all year that has struggled to make big plays. And Eric Berry has been full of them. And last week he had a 72-yard interception return for a touchdown. The week before that, he's done it 3 weeks in a row. 48 versus Northern Illinois, 54 versus Georgia, and 72 last week against Mississippi State.
And he's the all-time leader in the Southeastern Conference in interception return yards. Here, he had a chance to return a fumble, but what, a half a second maybe might separate whether it was a fumble or the runner was down. Is it too close to overturn? We'll find out right now.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner was down before he fumbled the ball. Second down.
I think it's
Just don't think it was conclusive enough to overturn it.
Yeah, it has to be indisputable.
It was one of those, Todd, don't you think if they had ruled it the other way, they would have confirmed that as well?
I think they might have, yeah. It looked like the ball was coming out right there before he came down, but it didn't actually come out until his body was on the ground. Very close.
That's huge, just huge. It does bring up second and long. And this is movement on the Alabama front wall.
Yeah, a late shift by the Tennessee defense going into a pressure front.
Dead ball. Ball start. 71. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
That's the All-American, and that's the first penalty against Alabama tonight.
I thought it was interesting when we talked to Jim McElwain on the phone earlier this week, the offensive coordinator at Alabama. He said, you know, it seems like they do a lot more of their stunting and shifting at home than they do on the road because they get the crowd involved with them, and it's harder for the quarterback and linemen to communicate.
Right.
And they tend to do that a lot more. That was a late shift in the middle of the quarterback's cadence, and it caused Andre Smith to jump.
Now it's second and 17. I don't know that Alabama has been in this spot tonight. John Parker Wilson, quick throw. Will Oakley, a wide receiver out of Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, for 14 yards. He's not even on the depth chart of the top 10 wide receivers.
I want to show you something. Now, this is how deep Tennessee plays their safety. And Oakley's going to come right in here and catch it, but the safety's nowhere near to make a play. Tennessee likes their free safety to be deep, which is okay on deep balls, but on a short throw, he's no way in a position to help on that underneath route.
Now third and very manageable. Third and about 2.5 from the Tennessee 44. John Parker Wilson has the man open, throws, complete first down. That one is to Brad Smelly, the fifth-string tight end.
Well, this is a great job by John Parker Wilson. Here's a bootleg with pressure coming from Wes Brown, the defensive end. And watch how he just drifts away from the pressure to buy enough time to make a clean throw. He knows he's got pressure. Watch him just drift, drift, drift. And then he still is able to calmly get the ball out to Smelly.
And there is a value to throwing to guys who have either no catches or only a couple all year. You don't look to cover those guys. Those are the last people you cover. Smelly, of course, his brother was the starting quarterback in South Carolina. That is a huge series of down. Here goes Upchurch. Upended at the 26. He was just lifted up and deposited by Demetrius Morley. But after they had second and 17, to be able to pull out another first down and keep this huge.
They're just so businesslike, Mike. I mean, you watch them at second and 17. John Parker Wilson said, I don't have to get it all back in one play. I just dump it underneath to my receiver. Now we have third and manageable. We pick that up. I mean, they're very methodical. They're very businesslike, and they don't beat themselves.
Upchurch again. And if you do come in and throw on first down, it makes it so much harder for the defense to read. All right, thanks, Reese. Alabama trying to put a capper on this one. Upchurch again, cuts it outside, then cuts it back inside the 15-yard line.
One of the things that you've got, if you're Alabama, the luxury they have too, is they've got 3 tailbacks, and they're confident with all of them, and they all run hard. So now you're getting fresh legs with Glenn Coffey, Mark Ingram, and Roy Upchurch, and a Tennessee defense that may be starting to get a little bit fatigued.
Yes. And justifiably so. Another first down for Alabama. Upchurch again. Picks up 4. Nothing spectacular, just good, solid play calling and running. Here's Holly.
Well, you're talking about that business-like attitude from Alabama, and John Parker Wilson says he totally agrees. He said the biggest change in this team this year is that everybody cares. Everybody actually wants to come to practice and get better every day. He said, I just can't credit Nick Saban enough for what he's done to turn us around 180 degrees. He said it's a night and day difference in our attitude, how we've gone about things. We're good because we actually care.
And Holly, Nick Saban is not going to accept anything less. Upchurch being a workhorse, dives. They're going to mark it inches away. They had 2 tight ends, Travis McCall and Nick Walker, both threw blocks to lead the way, and Upchurch thought he got the touchdown.
Well, again, they're wearing this Tennessee defense down on this drive. Pounding it right at them, fresh backs, Upchurch running hard. John Parker Wilson just kind of managing the game. Good call. His body, I think his body was down before the ball reached across.
It's an official paying attention and got the call exactly right. We're trying to check on what Tennessee player is down. Is it Dan Williams, 55? It is. 6'3", 310, a junior out of Memphis. And his teammate DeMonte Bolden comes over to encourage him. They're working on a knee. And he is obviously in a lot of distress right now. It's another thing that happens when a defense gets tired. It's just so much easier to get hurt when you're tired. 1:49 to go in the 3rd quarter. Alabama, even if they're only held to a field goal, which would seem unlikely in this situation, would still be up 3 scores. Upchurch had not had a carry all night. He'd been in there, but was used as either a pass receiver or a decoy. Has now carried to 5 straight plays for 35 yards. And good news, Williams is up and able to put weight on that injured leg.
Well, Mike Johnson is going to block down here on Dan Williams and just kind of catch him in the, looks like the right leg. Trying to cut him off. It's just a cutoff block. Trying to run wide to the other side.
Perfectly legal.
Yep.
And he looks like he's going to be fine. Certainly hope so. Quarterback keeper, touchdown. And you said it earlier, they're just so good in every department.
Yeah. You know, we saw them against Georgia when they jumped out 31-0. I'm more impressed with Alabama tonight than I was in that game because, you know, this game they were challenged. I mean, they were challenged in the first half. Tennessee gave them a lot to think about, and they got after John Parker Wilson and knocked him around a little bit, and they just have never been knocked off course. And defensively, they just said, that's it. You know, we'll give you that field goal after we turned it over inside our 5, but you're not going to score much more on us.
They will go for 2. John Parker Wilson throws to the back of the end zone, intended for Walker. Incomplete. Demetrius Morley was there. We'll play a little Did You Know when we got back. right now. Did you know Alabama's up 22-3? Absolutely.
Tennessee Volunteer fans pulling for the Colts tomorrow than the Titans.
I think they want to see Peyton throw for 500 yards and the Titans win.
Maybe that's true.
Rogan on the return for Tennessee. They could use a big one. Takes it out to the 33. Did you know that the SEC has won the last 2 national championships? The Florida Gators beating Ohio State in 06, LSU winning last year. I'm sure you did. Since 1936, when the AP poll was instituted, only twice as a conference had 3 straight national champs. The Big Ten did it 40 through 42 with Minnesota twice and Ohio State once. The SEC won 3 straight with Alabama in 78 and 79, Georgia in 80. But did you know that never before has a conference had 3 different schools win 3 consecutive national championships? I'm out of breath. It's your turn. Gain of 17 on the pass to Josh Briscoe. If somebody from the SEC pulls it off, 3 different schools, because Alabama is the team right now that is on everybody's lips as a national championship contender. It would be the first time 3 different schools have done it. And leave it to the SEC. Powerhouse year in and year out. What a catch. Beautiful grab by Lucas Taylor. Flag is down. Grabbed it like it was a baseball. And that one's coming back, and all Tennessee can do is shake its head.
I think they got the left tackle, Chris Scott.
Holding number 79, offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains first out.
The mistakes are just killing Tennessee.
Here it is right here. Number 79, Chris Scott, a junior.
Boy, that's not much of a hold. When a guy was really being overwhelmed by a pass blocker and goes to the ground, it looks from ground level to the official like that's got to be a hold and a takedown. But so many times you see it, and it's not. The tackle's just doing a great job. Draw play, Creer trying to get outside. Check in with Holly.
Well, guys, you're talking about SEC teams and their chance to win a national championship. We talked to Alabama free safety Rashad Johnson about that and said, you know, how are you guys staying focused despite all this attention, the number 2 ranking and everything? He said, oh, trust me, it is not a problem. He said there's so many guys on this team who were on that 2005 team. They started out their season 9-0 and then lost their last 2, dropped completely off the radar. He said, we've been through that. We know we have to keep it close.
All right, Holly, that's the end of 3 here in Knoxville. It's starting to look bleak for the home folks. 106,000 on hand. They trail by 19. And college football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels. Second-ranked undefeated Alabama with a 22-3 lead on Tennessee. Volunteers have reached their own 43-yard line. Stevens unloads. Incomplete. That was intended for his Quentin Hancock, his wide receiver on the right side. Briscoe was also back there. Marquise Johnson with the coverage.
Well, they tried to take a shot down the field. The only problem, Stevens threw the ball too far inside, and that's where the defender has the advantage. See how they both had to drift back inside? You want to throw that out over the outside of the receiver, where the receiver has the advantage between his man and the ball.
3rd and long. Low snap. Little flare. 3rd and 15, and that is a planned pass out to the flat. That's a pretty tough call to make in that situation. I mean, it's one thing to be conservative. You're down 3 scores starting the fourth quarter. You got to sort of throw that away, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it might have been part of a read. Look downfield first. If it's not there, that's your dump off. But
quick read.
Not much chance for that.
Javier Arenas will wait at the 10. Colquitt tried to get it to the corner, just sneaks into the end zone. 55-yard kick, but only a net of 35. Philip Fulmer has spent his entire athletic career at the University of Tennessee as a player, an assistant coach, and as a head coach. The first 8 seasons, 3 BCS Bowls, 2 SEC titles, a national championship. The last 9, however, no titles, no BCS Bowls, and the natives are restless.
Yeah.
Talk radio and newspapers, a lot of people calling for his head.
There are a lot of people that felt like this was a must-win game for Philip Fulmer against Alabama.
Coffey knocked out of bounds, but he picked up 13 yards before Morley got him. Pretty tough to say it's a must-win game against number 2, undefeated.
Well, and yes, they haven't won an SEC championship since 1998, but it's kind of hard to imagine that a guy who has won 75% of his games is on a hot seat. I mean, that just doesn't seem to sit right with me, but expectations are incredibly high here, as they are all across the Southeastern Conference. I mean, it's you know, every coach is getting paid quite well, and the bar just keeps getting raised higher and higher in this league.
Certainly times have changed as Coffey will try it again, and he is drilled by Robert Ayers, who's had a pretty good game from that defensive end spot. Holly Rowe, it's what have you done for me lately in college sports now?
Unfortunately, that is our culture, and because of all the rumblings we've heard around town, I did catch up with Philip Fulmer's boss, Mike Hamilton, the athletic director, just before the game. He was down on the field, and I asked him, how do you go about evaluating your coach during the middle of a season like this? And he said, well, I've learned over the years you have to be very careful. You cannot get too emotional over wins and losses. That can make you force into bad decisions. He said, I have learned over the years I have to judge a guy on his body of work. Going through that, Philip Fulmer has an astounding body of work here.
You're absolutely right about that. 4-man rush. John Parker Wilson throws, and it's going to be a couple of yards shy of a first down.
I think we're going to have a late hit on the quarterback at the end of the play as well. A frustration penalty on the Tennessee defense.
Now they're brown bagging it here, at least a couple of them.
And I'm sure that it doesn't, you know, Nick Saban didn't do Philip Fulmer any favors either. When
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 98, defense, 15 yards, first down.
Del Monte Bolden.
You know, with him coming and getting paid $4 million at Alabama and turning them around from last year where they couldn't seem to win games in the fourth quarter to now being undefeated, number 2 in the country. Everybody sees that. Everybody sees what Urban Meyer did in a short amount of time at the University of Florida. It's just, there's a lot of people here that think that, you know, as good as Philip has been, maybe there's a need for some new direction. But I don't know if that's the answer or not.
There are so many other situations, though, that people don't see where guys come into new situations and it takes them 5 years to build, or they don't succeed at all. So it is the rarity of the situation that people are concentrating on. And of course, everybody that's in the top 20 has the expectation of, why don't we win a national championship every year? And I mean every year.
Yeah. The only thing I have seen with Tennessee over the last few years, and I don't know how much of this is attributed to the head coach and how much is not, I think that talent-wise, they have been as talented and have as many people as anybody else in the league, but for whatever reason, they have not achieved at the same level. Now, I know they were in the SEC championship game last year, but they kind of backed their way into that.
Andre Mathis, the injured Volunteer, will check on him when we come back. Well, Tennessee has certainly given it a great shot tonight. against second-ranked and undefeated Alabama, but now they're down 22-3 fourth quarter, and they need some good things to happen to them in a hurry. Andre Mathis, the injured player, able to get off the field under his own steam. Upchurch in at tailback. He'll get the toss. Boy, they cleaned out the left side, and Upchurch is inside the 20. When you run left and you're Alabama, most of the time it's going to work.
Yeah, well, you've got Travis McCall. You've also got Brad Smelly over there, the two tight ends, along with Andre Smith. Watch these three guys just collapse that side of the defense and seal the corner for Upchurch. I mean, they just close it down. And again, I think we're talking about a very tired Tennessee defense right now. We've seen a couple guys get helped off the field. They are gassed. I mean, there is not much left in the tank of this Tennessee defense, and Alabama has just got the pedal to the metal right now running the football.
And Tennessee only able to generate 10 plays on offense here in the second half. Upchurch. 10. 5, runs over his own man. Jones blocking for him down to the 4. Nick Saban has preached it for 2 years. He wants a team that shows intensity, finishes every practice, every play, every game. They are finishing in this game.
I think he's got to be thrilled with what's happening with his football team in this game. The second half, the last 3 weeks, they've been outscored by a wide margin. And even before the game, he said, we just have not played well in the second half. We've gotten too complacent. We've gotten too satisfied too easily. Tonight, they've not been. They have kept the same focus, the same measure of intensity through the entire football game, and they're now wearing down the Tennessee Volunteers.
First and goal. Upchurch again. Can't get outside this time. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, one of the reasons Alabama is wearing down this Tennessee defense, they're missing a lot of guys straight up the gut. Dan Williams still out with a twisted right ankle. He is trying to come back in, but hasn't been able to yet. Also, their leading tackler and linebacker, Alex Wilson, out right now. They're examining his right outer ankle. He's on the training table. And, of course, Andre Mathis is getting evaluated as well. So they're dropping like flies over here.
And that's a tough thing to see, Holly, and we talked about it earlier. When you get tired, it's easier to be injured. And they've got to be dog-tired right now. Alabama's just hammering away. Upchurch. Cutback. Touchdown. Todd, you pointed out earlier, Alabama deep at tailback.
Yep.
They can send 1, 2, 3 guys, all of whom seem to have the same kind of ability, slightly different styles, but they can all play.
They can all play, and as we've seen this Alabama team do, their offensive line, it took 3.5 quarters, but they've started to kind of impose their will on this Tennessee defense now. They wore them down, and you got fresh backs running behind them.
The top 10 scoreboard for you when we come back. ESPNU All-State Standings Review. Texas still at the top, and boy, did they deserve it. Colt McCoy, at one point when I was watching the game earlier today, was 24-26, and I saw one that he had dropped. So he should have been 25 of 26. It's just ridiculously good. Alabama, of course, is going to go to 8-0 at this point. Penn State down by 3 to Ohio State. That would at least temporarily derail any dreams they have of a national championship. But we've seen it is a long season. Even if you've only got 4 or 5 games left to go, people just lose games when you don't expect it. Well, let's take a look at what Alabama has left on its plate after an 8-0 start. Number 13 LSU and Auburn stand out, but Mississippi State, terrific defensive team. That could be interesting, yeah. But certainly LSU, well, a team that got hammered tonight, and Auburn will be the key test for this ball club. And Auburn, because it's such an enormous rivalry game.
Well, and Auburn's won what, six in a row, the last 6, 7, something like that.
Only 9:33 to go in this ball game, and Nick Stevens facing a huge task, he and the Tennessee offense. Stevens under pressure down the middle. That can bring a flag, and it does.
There's a flag at the line of scrimmage as well.
Ali Sharif on Stocker, and appeared to make a lot of contact.
The thing about this Alabama defense, though, is that there is no easy play out there for Tennessee. Everything is contested. Every throw, every run. I mean, it's just that there are no free gifts by this Alabama defense. They don't get out of position. They don't get plays over the top of their heads. I mean, if you get something, you have to earn it.
Play. An eligible receiver downfield, number 88. He was covered up. Pass interference, number 28 on the defense. Those penalties will offset. Replay first down.
I know that's offsetting penalties, but wasn't Stocker the intended receiver?
He was.
So if he was ineligible, they really shouldn't be able to have pass interference against him, should you?
Against an ineligible receiver. That's an excellent point. Excellent point. I think the committee's going to have to look at that one. A lot of fans starting to leave here. Of a huge crowd, over 106,000. Really disappointed in this game. And there's an example of what you just said.
I mean, it's
not going to give you anything.
It's 29-3. There's 9 minutes and some change left in the game, and they're just nothing easy. There's no, prevent defense. There's no let's just sit back and let them complete a couple dinks and dunks. They're going to challenge and contest everything.
Nick Saban, as a coach, sets the bar so high for his coaches and his players. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to achieve this level. And he's not satisfied with anything less than that.
He says, don't look at the scoreboard. Play each play like it has a history of its own. Win each play one at a time, and don't look at the scoreboard.
Do you know anybody in your history as a player who's, I mean, there might be one guy on each team who can do that. But as a group, I don't think it exists.
Yeah. Very, very difficult.
I mean, people do look at the scoreboard. You can tell them don't look at it. That's the first thing they look at. 3rd and 6. Tennessee trying to keep the drive alive. Stevens goes underneath. They'll get a first down to the 47-yard line. Good throw to Foster coming out of the backfield. But if you're going to get anything out of Alabama, it's going to be the short stuff. The other thing that a defense like Alabama wants to do right now with their pride, they don't want to give up any more yardage. They have one of the best defensive ball clubs in the country. They want to maintain all of those rankings. Nice fake inside the 40 to the 35. Nick Stevens, outstanding run. And speaking of outstanding, let's check in with Reese. All right, Reese. Reese had the line of the day earlier describing Kentucky's punting game as a human rain delay. That was choice, and they had such terrible times with their kicking game. Stevens, 4-man rush, flag down. Boy, it's a nice throw, but again, blanketing defense. Arenas was just right there. Now we'll check the penalty flag. Flags down in 2 different areas of the field. But apparently only one call. And it's against Tennessee, and certainly they have had their share of mistakes that have. Penn State still has to play Michigan State.
I always felt that the road to the championship in that league runs through Columbus. As good as Penn State has played this year, Ohio State's still the team to beat in that league.
Blitz against Stevens. He unloads. That could be interference. And the flag comes in.
Well, they got the safety, Rashad Johnson, going man-to-man. It's not a corner. A little unaccustomed to being out on the wide of the formation that time. Nick Saban again, coaching it to the very end.
Denarius Moore was the intended receiver. Johnson ran into him because he never located the football.
He's running to catch up. And at the last minute, the ball's a little underthrown. So the receiver slowed down a little bit. And the contact initiated by Rashad Johnson.
Well, when you look at that in slow motion, you got to question that call.
Not a lot.
Holy cow. But Tennessee certainly has not gotten many breaks tonight. They're at the 25.
Alabama bringing pressure. Nothing easy.
Come with a blitz, and still they manage to cover as the middle linebacker McClain drops back into his zone and knocks it away. You wonder if they're going to bring a blitz. Shouldn't there be people wide open? But there aren't. This is a good defense.
It really is. And it's an NFL-style defense. It's not a typical college defense. Most college defenses set their coverages based on the field. You know, they set their fronts one way and their coverage goes to the other way towards the field. This is an NFL defense. It's all by formations. It's kind of like a matchup zone when they, where they're always trading off and they're matching up on routes and matching up on formations. Very NFL oriented.
She'll blitz again and come with 5. Stevens for the corner. That could be a flag, and it is. This is going to be on Arenas again. The ball was a little late getting there, and the defender runs right into him. So courtesy of a couple of interference calls, Tennessee is moving the football.
The thing I like, what I'm seeing in Alabama, though, is they're not looking at the scoreboard right now. I mean, the coaches aren't. They're still calling blitzes.
Number 28, defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, they're still coming, aren't they?
And the players aren't. The players are challenging every pass. They're not saying, you know what, let's just cruise the rest of the way through here, get on the plane, go back to Tuscaloosa, and get another win under our belt. They're not doing it. They are playing the second half tonight in a way that they have not shown so far this season. Now, they're making a few mistakes, which they didn't do in the first half. But they are aggressive.
That'll just give the coaches something to work on over for the week. Stevens, little flanker screen. They had a pick and got away with it. And it's a touchdown. Briscoe. A well-designed, well-run play. And Tennessee gets its first touchdown of the ball game at the 7:26 mark. Well, certainly we talked about no quitting the Tennessee defense, no quitting the Alabama defense, no quitting the Tennessee offense either. Stevens will go into the shotgun as they go for 2. Good protection, throws too high, intended for Lucas Taylor. T. Martin will be Holly's guest when we come back to Knoxville. Ball club that won a national championship. Tennessee is setting up for an onside kick, and instead they kick it away deep. And even though Alabama had 10 guys up the line of scrimmage, you have to wonder why they don't go for an onside kick down by 20 points.
National champion here, something that even Peyton Manning couldn't do.
Coach Foreman told us after we wanted that, we don't know how big it was, and we wouldn't understand it until we got older, and that's exactly right. You know how hard it is to win a championship, for us to go undefeated and beat a Florida State team that was really, really good. You don't really see how good it was until later on in your life.
I can remember that season. They opened with a 1-point win over Syracuse in the Carrier Dome, and then there was a game later in the season in November here against Arkansas that the game looked like it was lost, and Arkansas was basically trying to run the clock out, and Clint Sterner, who was the quarterback for Arkansas, stumbled on his way running a bootleg and fell and dropped the football. Tennessee recovered and went on to score a touchdown and won the game 28-24. But you need those kind of breaks in any kind of a championship season.
Unbelievably disappointing play for Arkansas. All right, thanks, Reese. 7 minutes exactly to go in this ball game. 3rd and 4 for Alabama, and John Parker Wilson comes out throwing Jones. First down. They just pick at you.
Yeah, they just have been methodical. It hasn't been a lot of big plays. It hasn't been 78, 80-yard runs by Glenn Coffey. It hasn't been the huge touchdown throws by John Parker Wilson. They just have done whatever they needed. Run, throw, play defense, play special teams.
Yep.
And just control this football game.
And those that are still here starting to boo a little bit. Most of the crowd has already made its way out of Neyland Stadium.
This is the most complete game that Alabama has played. First half, second half. I mean, they were challenged severely in the first half by Tennessee, particularly the volunteer defense. But they have just reacted and responded, and they've stayed about their business. And they're going to get out of here 8-0.
Well, remember when we had Penn State and Joe Paterno told us he wanted to see his team challenged.
Yeah.
He wanted to see what they did when times were tough. Well, you want to see that, but you want to make sure you win at the same time. And Nick Saban got to see that tonight.
That's right.
He got to see his team challenged. He got to see them respond, so he learned something.
Yeah. And he still got to add more minutes to that stat of how many minutes they've been ahead and how many minutes they've been behind. 1 minute and 15 seconds coming into tonight that they were behind.
And that just seemed to upset them.
Yeah.
Nothing else. It's like poking a bear in the side with a sharp stick. Upchurch had a nice second half.
Upchurch,
Trying to go after the best and resurrect the past. Bear Bryant, 82.4% of his games, 13 SEC championships, 6 national titles. But people, as much as people in Alabama may want to see that happen again, that's never going to happen again. It's never going to happen again anywhere.
Now, college football,
the talent has been divvied up.
Right.
It used to be you could stash 50 guys who could play for somebody else. You had them on your team. They didn't play, but they didn't play for your opposition.
That's right.
You can't do it now.
Scholarship limits, just the eligibility, guys leaving after their junior year. I mean, Nick Saban this year, perfect example. This is a team. Now think about this. They're number 2 in the country, getting ready to move to 8-0. Only 9 scholarship seniors. That's tied for the fewest in the country with Middle Tennessee State. And they've played 15 true freshmen this year. They had to play young guys. Now, you give this guy another recruiting class or two, and wow.
And yet the talent is divided so well among teams when they put the 85 scholarship limit in that it's just going to be more and more difficult for anybody to sustain greatness. You got guys going to leave early to the NFL.
Right.
Guys leave early for other reasons, off the field problems or whatever. So if you can win a national championship, it's not, hey, it's the first of 3 or 4 we're going to win. It is, you might as well enjoy it.
Well, Tennessee's a perfect example of that. 1998.
That's Andre Billingsley being helped off the field. 275-pound backup linebacker.
They're
saying it's Wes Brown. We have 294s.
Yeah, that's Wes Brown. Had a nice season for this Tennessee defense. A real high motor, high energy guy. Another thing that's really different in college football that Bear Bryant never saw. Not only did he have more players and more depth and more talent than a lot of the people he played against, but nowadays the spread offenses are kind of an equalizer too.
Sure.
You get people playing out in space, and you get a couple good skill guys and a quarterback that can make some plays, and you can really level the playing field with lesser talent, especially in the offensive line.
Yeah, you don't have to have the 5 big eaters in there.
Yeah.
You can get guys who are quick, athletic, and they can play with the bigger guys because of the scheme that you're playing. You're absolutely right. Meanwhile, the clock's just ticking away as we approach the 5-minute mark here. And Alabama's going to go to 8-0. They are ranked number 2 the best they have done in 15 years. Texas, of course, is going to stay #1 after another impressive performance. And Texas is just not beating the Little Sisters of the Poor. They're going through a meat grinder, and they're winning. Tennessee trying to do anything it can right now to generate a big play out to the 18-yard line. 7-yard return after a punt of 38. And there's a flag down on the play back near midfield.
Offside on the receiving team. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Another in a series of mistakes by Tennessee, and Phil Fulmer just drops his head. That's going to be an automatic first down on 4th and about 3. Yikes. Philip has seen enough tonight. Yep. We all know how that feels. So Alabama gets a new set of downs with 4:29 to go on the 4th quarter clock. And
another fresh back.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go to Reese. All right, Reese, thanks very much. 3:50 on a turning clock from Knoxville. Alabama just trying to run out the remaining ticks on that clock. Hope you join us in the NFL. The rumors are circulating that there are a couple of big-name players still involved in this that haven't been revealed yet. It's amazing in this day and age, after the way they've cracked down, that people would take this kind of chance.
Yeah, I know.
What does the comedian Ron White say? You can't fix stupid. He's absolutely right. And now a little pushing and shoving after the play. Peyton Manning, of course, the focus of the Indianapolis.
And the only people that are allowed to sit in it, I guess, are champions, which I don't know if that means somebody who grades out as a champion in a particular game week, but only special champions. And then, of course, Peyton Manning can sit in it anytime he wants. That was the restriction. The chair's yours. It's in your office. Here's who can sit in it. Champions, and anytime Peyton wants to sit in it.
Yeah, and why not? It's hard to believe he did not win a national championship. If it had not been for Steve Spurrier and the Florida Gators, he'd have probably won a couple of them.
Even harder to believe that he didn't win a Heisman Trophy either. And the Florida Gators had a lot to do with that. And, of course, Charles Woodson won it from Michigan his senior year. And still a lot of that still doesn't sit too well with the folks here in Knoxville.
No.
To this day. Greg McElroy in at quarterback now for Alabama.
And a new running back, Terry Grant. This will tell you the extent of the depth on this team. Terry Grant was the leading ball carrier last year. Right now he's 4th.
Greg McElroy is a young quarterback, a sophomore. Guess what state he's from, Mike?
Texas?
You got it. Another Texas quarterback.
They're everywhere, and it's not just, we're not talking about a bunch of stiffs either. No. We're talking about a lot of guys who can really play.
Well, I think 6 of them in the Big 12, which, everybody says that's the best quarterback conference this year, and rightfully so. 6 of those guys, I think, maybe even more, are the starters are from the state of Texas.
Spectacular quarterbacking in that league, spectacular offenses. Sports Center follows our broadcast. We invite you to stay tuned for that. Texas survives another big showdown in the conference. LeBron against Game Day. That was fun. And World Series Game 3, after a long rain delay, they have that one underway in Philadelphia. Well, Tennessee's going to fall to 3-5, and the calls will probably grow louder for Philip Fulmer's departure. The crowd will Be really happy when Alabama comes home at 8-0. And looking forward in a couple of weeks to that LSU game. That'll be huge. Straight up the middle goes Grant, tripped up.
You know, it really is pretty stunning and amazing to think what Nick Saban has done in 2 years in Alabama. Because we saw this team last year, and they were kind of doing it with smoke and mirrors last year. They had some good players. They had some good pieces. But they were not a championship caliber team. And they lost 6 games, I think, by 7 points or less. They didn't finish games. And to see them this year, I mean, they are playing at such a higher level on both sides of the ball. It's remarkable. It really is.
And he was telling anybody who would listen, hey, we're not there yet. There are too many holes on this team. Give us a chance to recruit most of our own kids and see what's going to happen. Well, certainly you can see what's going to happen when he gets another couple of more recruiting classes. It may have already happened. And here's Holly Rowe with Nick.
Coach, your team had to put together a good second half tonight. What did you like about their focus and intensity?
Well, you know, we wanted to play 60 minutes in the game. I'm really proud of our players. They did a great job. Tennessee's got a great team and a good program, and we really played well in the second half. It's great for our fans. This is a big rivalry. All the players and people out there that made this tradition and this rivalry what it is, it's great to win, and especially great to win up here. So I'm really happy for our players and our kids.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, Holly, thanks very much. Huge win for Alabama. They are still undefeated. They go to 8-0, number 2 in the country. The final score, number 2 Alabama 29, Tennessee 9. Coming up next.